Hi, I'm Terry Wood and welcome to part 2 of Poker Strategy Fundamentals. In part 1, we built the internal foundation, math, mindset, and mental discipline. Now, we turn our focus outward, toward the people across the table. Because poker isn't just about what you know, it's about what you observe. And the greatest edge in poker doesn't come from being unpredictable, it comes from being aware. In this second part of the series, we'll break down how to read behavioral tells, shift with table dynamics, exploit player tendencies, and build a personal strategic system that fits your game, not somebody else's. Let's begin where the reading starts, with player behavior. Every poker player leaks information, and if you pay close attention, not just to their bets, but to their behavior, you'll start to see things they don't even realize they're showing. A tell is any behavioral clue that reveals something about a player's hand strength, intentions, or mental state. And most tells are unconscious. They happen when emotion overrides control, when pressure or excitement slips out into the body, the voice, or the timing of a bet. Now, here's where a lot of players go wrong. They memorize some rule like trembling hands means a strong hand, and they apply it to everyone in every situation. That's not strategy. That's a shortcut, and it doesn't work. The truth is, a tell has no meaning without context. The same behavior can mean very different things depending on when it happens and who's doing it. Before we talk about specific types of tells, let's talk about when they happen, because that's what gives them context. And for that, I give full credit to Zachary Elwood, the world's leading authority on poker tells, who breaks them down into 3 major categories. Waiting for action tells. These are tells that players exhibit while they're waiting for their opponent to act. Waiting for action tells can reveal if a player wants you to bet or doesn't want you to bet. During action tells, these occur while it's their turn to act. This is where betting motion, speed, posture shifts, and nervous energy tend to surface, often unconsciously. Post-bet tells. These are tells that show up after a player has made their bet. Tells aren't just physical, they're verbal too. What players say, and how they say it, can be just as revealing as body language. A quiet player who suddenly starts chatting during a big hand? That's information. A comment like, "You got it if you call," said quickly or awkwardly, could reveal nervous energy. The key is not to memorize what lines mean what, it's to notice shifts in behavior. What's normal for this player, and what's not? The best players don't make snap reads, they build patterns. They observe across hands, across hours, even across sessions. Tells should be correlated before using them to make a decision, and they should be associated with other tells that would indicate either strength or weakness. That's where tells become valuable not because you saw something once, but because you've built a baseline for how a player behaves under pressure. Again, full credit to Zachary Elwood for his work in this space. His books, Reading Poker Tells, Verbal Poker Tells, and Exploiting Poker Tells, are required reading if you're serious about this part of the game. But tells go both ways. You're watching them, and they're watching you. And if you're not careful, you might be giving off signals you didn't even realize. So next, let's talk about how to conceal your own tells, and how to control the story you're telling at the table. Concealing your poker tells is one of the most underrated and most profitable skills in live poker. And the real secret? Don't draw attention to yourself. When you blend in, when you stay neutral, there's nothing for your opponents to read. And that makes you dangerous. Think about it. When you have a strong hand, do you want attention? No. You want the action. You want calls. You want to get paid. When you have a weak hand, do you want attention? No again. You want to fold quietly or bluff without resistance. So the question is, why draw attention at all? Your goal is simple. Become invisible at the table. Not boring. Not robotic. Just unnoticed. Take a look at our video, How to Conceal Your Poker Tells and Stay Unreadable. I have placed the link in the description below. Self-awareness is step 1. It starts with knowing what you look like under pressure. Are you the type to freeze? Fidget? Rush a decision? Do you suddenly sit up straighter with a monster? Or slump when you miss? Most players don't know their own habits, and that's the problem. You can't fix what you don't see. 2. Consistency is your armor. The best defense against being read is acting the same way every time. Same chip movement, same posture, same tone, whether you've got the nuts or nothing. When you normalize your behavior, you deny your opponent's patterns. And poker is a pattern game. 3. Don't overact. Trying too hard to look strong or look weak is a mistake. Forced behavior is often more telling than doing nothing at all. And showing nothing, no emotion at all, is preferable. Don't suddenly get chatty after 2 hours of silence. Don't stare your opponent down if you've been looking at the felt all night. Just stay neutral. Stay unnoticed. 4. Master invisibility. If you don't want attention when you're strong, and you don't want attention when you're weak, then you don't want attention at all. And that's the mindset of a truly strategic player. Invisible, unreadable, unshakable. Now let's zoom out and look at the bigger picture, the flow of the table, the shifting dynamics, and the psychology that lives between the hands. Metagame awareness and table dynamics. Poker isn't played in isolation. It's not you versus the cards. It's you versus everything happening around you. And if you're not tuned into the table as a whole, you're playing with a massive blind spot. The metagame is everything that exists outside the mechanics of the hand, but still impacts how the hand plays out. It's table image. It's history. It's emotion. It's perception. It's the atmosphere of the game and your ability to read and shape it. 1. Table dynamics. The energy of the table. Every poker table has its own rhythm, and that rhythm is constantly changing. Maybe the table has tightened up because a big hand just went down. Maybe a loose player just got stacked and is emotionally volatile. Maybe someone's dominating the action and forcing everyone else into a shell. That's table dynamics, and if you're not paying attention to it, you're missing the context behind every decision. 2. Adaptability equals profitability. The players who make money over the long run aren't the ones with the best starting hand charts. They're the ones who adjust. If the table is loose and wild, they tighten up and trap. If the table is cautious and scared, they become the predator. Strategy isn't fixed. It's responsive. 3. Flow and momentum matter. Momentum exists in poker, just like in sports or business. Some players are on tilt. Some are in rhythm. Some just lost a big pot and are trying to re-establish control. Great players know how to feel the flow of a game, when to push, when to pull back, and when to sit tight and let someone else implode. 4. How they're reacting to you. It's not just about how others are playing, it's about how they're playing against you. Are they folding to your continuation bets too often? Are they calling you down light because they don't believe you? Have you been quiet all session and suddenly woke up with 2 raises in a row? These are shifts in perception, and they change everything. Metagame awareness means playing the table, not just the hand. It means asking questions like, what's happening here beyond the cards? Who's uncomfortable right now? Who's about to snap? And how can I use that information not to gamble, but to guide my strategy? Now that we've discussed how to read the table, it's time to talk about how to understand the players at that table. Because there's one more critical layer to building a complete strategy. And that's understanding player types and how to exploit them. No 2 poker players are exactly the same, but almost every player you'll meet falls into a recognizable pattern. And the more quickly you can identify that pattern, the faster you can exploit it. Understanding player types gives you a shortcut to predicting behavior. It's not perfect, but it gives you a solid starting point. Are they passive, aggressive, tight, reckless? Each style has its own strengths, weaknesses, and vulnerabilities. Let's start with the big 4, the foundational styles that show up again and again in live poker. Loose passive. These are the calling stations. They want to see flops and avoid confrontation. They rarely raise, rarely fold, and rarely win big. Against these players, value bet relentlessly. Don't bluff. Just let them pay you off. Loose aggressive. These players love pressure. They bet, raise, and push small edges. They're dangerous, but also exploitable. If they're out of line too often, tighten up and trap. Let them build the pot for you. Tight passive. These players fold often, and when they finally bet, it's usually the nuts. Against tight passives, you can steal small pots, apply pressure, and fold when they get serious. They don't bluff much, and they hate big pots without strong hands. Tight aggressive. This is the ideal player, selective with hands, aggressive with position, disciplined with bluffs. These players are tough because they're playing the kind of strategy we've been building throughout this series. But even tags have patterns. And once you spot them, you can begin to shift gears and find small edges. And then there are the extreme types, the outliers. The ones who defy the standard boxes, but are often the easiest to exploit once you spot them. The nit. ultra tight and terrified of variance. You can steal from them all night, just don't expect them to pay you off when you finally have it. The maniac, the wild card. That's every street, every hand, every spot. Let them do the work, just tighten up and get paid. Classifying players is just the beginning. Real edge comes from adjusting your own strategy once you've classified theirs. If they're tight, open up. If they're wild, tighten down. We have both detailed videos and articles on each player type referred to here. You will find the links in the pinned comments. In the two videos combined, we've discussed the math, psychology, behavior, tells, player types, and game flow. You have seen the tools, and now we know that strategy isn't a set of rules or instructions. It's a way of thinking. That's what we mean when we say, no rules, just tools. That's our Church of Reason, where the emotional and the analytical meet, where your instincts are shaped by structure, and your structure is flexible enough to flow with the moment. This is Terry Wood from PokerRailbird.com. If this series helped you see the game more clearly, share it and subscribe. And if you want to dig even deeper into every concept we've covered here, read the full article, Poker Strategy Fundamentals at PokerRailbird.com. It includes links to in-depth breakdowns of every major skill we touched on, from math and psychology to tells, table dynamics, and more. I've placed the link in pinned comments. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you at the tables.